another day in the fish room. Mostly going to be moving some fish around today and focusing on the 24 karat gold guppies, trying to get those guys set up again so I can really start cranking them out. And we'll see what else we get into. I have the 24 karat gold guppies spread out within 4 different tanks just because I don't want to risk losing this line at all. These are my breeding adults here. We have one of my best males from the previous generation with the nice pectoral fins. He did have a nice tail. He didn't have red in the tail up until like a week or 2 ago, which I think is weird that a fish that old would develop red, which is something I don't want in this line. So I have to find another breeder male and get these guys going. They did have Cavalnaris redworm, at least some of them did. So they were taken out of the 40 gallon, put in here, dewormed, and now they're all good. I also have some growing out in this tank over here. We also have some of the new ones that we got a couple weeks ago that have been in quarantine that I'm going to select breeders from this group. These guys have been in quarantine extra long. I just want to make sure that they're parasite free and they're not going to bring any disease into my line. With the 24 karat golds, I find them originally to be a very weak line, but I've mixed genetics in. This will be the 4th time that I've done that from different sources. So this strain looks really good. I kept them in here extra long because I wanted to make sure that none of the males started developing any red. And it looks like this one male right here developed red. You could see it in his dorsal fin there. So I don't want to use him as a breeder. It's something that can happen in this line. I think it looks cool, but I want the line to stay gold. Also with this line, looking at some of the males, they have some green in the body. You can see kind of by the tail. Just a couple of them do. So I'm going to take probably the best male in here and introduce him to some of my females and maybe use one of my older males as well. I moved 4 females and 1 male into this 40 gallon, and I'm hoping that they'll drop some fry soon and not eat them. This strain is notorious for eating their fry, so the plants I have are covering all the way up to the top here. Ideally this water sprite would be taller, but that's all right, we got time. And we do have 1 female here in this 10 gallon, and she's one female that was raised in a 20 gallon with some white cloud minnows. She was a leftover fry that I didn't see, and she grew up in the tank being the only guppy in the tank, so she's never been hit by a male before. So that's a really good opportunity when you have that to get your best male and mix it with a virgin female, and then you know that 100% of those genetics of that really good male are going to her. So that's what I'm going to do with her, and she's also a good backup to have. I'm trying to repeat that in this tank. This is my yellow shrimp tank, and I do have 2 fry of the 24 karat golds. You can see one back there, and there's another one that is hiding in the back. I'm hoping that I could sex those early. One of those or both ideally would be a female, and we could have a similar situation like we do over there. I'm finally going to move these pearl scale platinum angelfish into the 75. They've caught up in growth with the angelfish that are in there, so I feel comfortable now putting them in the tank. You can see we have 1 blue daisies rice fish there that jumped over from the other tank. I did learn the hard way that these guys are jumpers, so I have to make sure I always have the lid on for the daisies rice fish. I'll be able to put that guy back, but luckily he made it to the other tank twice before I've seen them on the floor dried up, which is unfortunate. So make sure you got a lid if you have these guys. These guys are still getting used to their new tank, but I'm sure they'll appreciate the room. I'm excited to have some platinums in here because the ultims that I have in here, the Peruvian ultims, I can't really see them that well on the Eco Complete, but the platinums stand out really well, and I think they'll all look really good when they're full size, and we can finally get some breeding pairs going of those. Just did a big water change on this tank, took out all the pearl weed with all that algae on it. Pearlweed for me doesn't do well on the top row tanks because it's such high light and I don't fertilize on schedule. I just randomly do it. So I'm going to pick a different plant for here that does well for me. The blue neon gobies are still in here. You saw one just scurry by. They love hanging out in between the cereal stone here. But I don't know what's going to go in here yet, but I'll figure it out at some point, I'm sure. Last fish to be moved today are this drop of Panda Guppies. They're definitely big enough now to be with the adult females without getting eaten. You can also see we have mixed in here some orange lamé rice fish. This was originally meant for the orange lamés, but the spawn for some reason was very, very small. I think I have like 4 or 5 in here. I don't know why I'm struggling with the this strain of rice fish. They're one of my favorites. These are the adults here, and there's no Java moss in here because I just moved a bunch of it over to a new tank to try to get these guys some fry from them. Unfortunately, I'm getting fry, but I'm not getting a lot. And I think I'm going to deworm these guys a little bit. They don't look sick. They don't look like they have parasites. They eat really well. All the other rice fish setups here are set up the exact same, and I'm getting fry from every strain except this one. So I have to figure that out. This tank looks nice and full now with the adults and the fry mixed in. I was surprised to see these females go after these fry after I dumped them in, being the size that they're at. They're still trying to go after them. So I'll make sure to feed these guys extra heavy. The drop we have here on the hang-on breeder box is doing really well. There's a lot in there, so I'm glad that these guys are really prolific and doing well for me because these are really pretty strain. I'm so lucky to have gotten them. That was another day in the fish room. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.